Hi, team. You are in the lesson on transitions, which is the last lesson before you're done with all of these video lessons. So transitions are really important. Transitions take a piece of writing from a very basic piece of writing to a more nuanced, more mature piece of writing. So let's start with this. You're not going to answer in the chat, but I want you to think to yourself, what does this image have to do with transitional words and phrases? Yeah, hopefully you said it out loud already. These are all chains, right? And these are links. Chains are made up of links. You can think of transitional words and phrases as the links in the chain of your essay. If a link is missing, the chain doesn't work, right? Links are really important to chains, obviously, and transitions are very important to pieces of writing. So let's talk. What are transitions? Transitions are words and phrases that provide a connection, that link, between ideas, sentences, and paragraphs. Transitions help to make a piece of writing flow better. The ideas flow from one to the next. Transitions also can occur within a paragraph or between paragraphs. And transitions can show how sentences or paragraphs relate to each other and how they relate to the overall theme of the paper. They're like the glue. They are the links in the chain, the thing that's holding it all together. So let's look at some ideas of transitions and what they look like to get a better sense of what transitions are. These are the transitions that are most often used in literary analysis essays to show continuation, to show that something is continuing, so from one to the next. Furthermore, in addition, additionally, it's another way of saying in addition, therefore, also, next. You can use first, second, third. There are so many ways to use continuation. You will often use continuation transition words at the beginning of your topic sentences. Now for this essay, you only have one topic sentence, so you might not have a ton of continuation transition words. To give an example, so in this essay, you're talking about a literary device and how that device builds toward a deeper effect or meaning. So you might use a transition phrase like this to lead into your evidence. The author uses metaphor to develop a theme, for example, and then you provide the metaphor. The author uses dialogue to develop characterization, as evidenced by, or for instance, but for example is a good transition. Whatever transition words you use, just make sure that you don't use them too frequently. If you're using one too frequently, Google a different one. How can I say this transition word in a different way? Google will tell you. And it's always a good idea to read your sentence out loud to see if you're repeating a word or a phrase too often. To show contrast, you've got a list right here as well. And then to conclude, you can use the word in conclusion at the beginning of your conclusion essay. All in all, in summary, these are some other transition words that you might use. Thus, previously, this would often happen. These words will often show up in narratives. So, transition words, I'm going to show you a model of what this looks like. Transition words turn sentences into a paragraph. So imagine that these sentences were all put together as like a research project, right? This research project is all about African dance and how African dance influences dance today. So these sentences all just by themselves are separate sentences, disconnected. African dance first came to America on slave ships. A slave rebellion was organized by communicating through the drum beats. Plantation owners banned all drumming. Enslaved people were forced to find alternate methods of music making and dancing. Jazz, tap, swing, step, hip-hop, and breakdancing may all trace their roots back to traditional African dances. This looks like a notes sheet, right? Like you watched a video and you took notes while you were watching. These are a series of sentences that are all independent of each other. But what transition sentences do, they can turn these independent sentences into a flowing paragraph. Listen to this. African dance first came to America on slave ships. However, enslaved people organized a rebellion by communicating through drum beats. Consequently, plantation owners banned all drumming. Outlawing drumming, meanwhile, forced enslaved people to find alternate methods of music making and dancing. For example, jazz, tap, swing, hip-hop, and breakdancing may all trace their roots back to traditional African dances. So you can see that these transition words turn these independent sentences into a complete paragraph. So, the only word that I would say sound awkward is this however right here. I would reword that one. But otherwise, and remember, the best way to find some of those errors is to read it out loud. It's when you read it out loud, because I wrote this, and then now that I'm reading it out loud, I think, it doesn't sound very good. Read your essay out loud to make sure that it makes sense, it's logical, and it flows smoothly from one idea to the next. So now, go to your planner. You have already written your thesis, your background information, your thesis statement, your topic sentence, your evidence, and your explanation. Now go through and add in some of those transitions. So I already included a transition like in the text. What that does is it transitions the reader from my claim into the text itself. Now, if I have additional evidence to use, I can use the word additionally. And then you should also write your conclusion paragraph next, which will probably start with in conclusion, or might start with in summary. And then you're going to summarize your essay. Now remember that in your conclusion paragraph, you should also include a restatement of your thesis statement and a reminder of what the text is all about. So basically what you're doing is you are rewriting what you had in your introduction paragraph in a different way in your conclusion paragraph, using your thesis statement again. And it's okay to copy and paste your thesis statement into your conclusion for now. As you get better and stronger at writing, you'll reword things, but for now, it's okay to do that. And then you're going to conclude by reminding the reader what the text is all about. Machetes is a powerful poem focused on identifying and bringing to life the various forms of oppression, blah, 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 blah. And then tell us why it matters. People ought to, or we can as humans, or in our society today, we must. This last part, you're going to transition into a call to action. What should your reader take away from your essay? First, it's a literary analysis, so they should take away the literary device and what it's doing. But second, what should they take away from this text? And that is how you should end your essay. My friend, you are done with your planner. If you followed all the steps in these videos, you have finished your planner and you are ready to take each of these paragraphs and put them into your final document. All right, my friend, finish up your planner, start your final document. Everything is due Sunday at midnight. Thank you for paying close attention. And when you have questions, ask them. Bye.